So there's really three core things that I've seen stop somebody from pursuing their Dharma and creating the life that they truly want to live. And I've seen these all in myself. I've seen these in my friends. I've seen these in people that I care about in the different communities I've been a part of. And I've seen them in the dozens of clients that I've worked with over the past year. And what I find so interesting about this is that it's so simple, but it's part of this game that we humans play to make things more complicated than what they really need to be. And so these three things are accepting yourself, trusting yourself, and loving yourself. And these all come from learning to know yourself. Every spiritual tradition talks about this key phrase of know thyself. And there's several elements to this. There's knowing who you are as an individual, as a person, your skills, your talents, your judgments, your misconceptions of the world. But then they're really talking about knowing your true self, knowing the essence of your being, knowing your soul, knowing who you really are on this spiritual level, not just as the individual, as this individual awareness that is manifesting yourself as this lifetime, but as this greater, undivided, unified consciousness of which you are a part of. You are that. The famous phrase, you are that. And so this is why I see, especially in this modern day age where people are trying to live their purpose, they're trying to create a life for themselves, they want to get away from the matrix, they want to, have a job and a life that's fulfilling to themselves. But they kind of skip this self-discovery phase, and they immediately try to start doing something that they think will bring them happiness, fulfillment, success, and so on. I know I did that. And I think looking back, if I were to just kind of slow down and take things a little bit more methodically and cultivated certain elements, I think there would have been, I think I would have found, some momentum in a different way. But looking at this, from where we are now and what this all has to do with actually being able to embody your Dharma, I believe that every single person has a purpose. They have a mission in life. They have a reason for being. And that's really what I think a lot of people come to the spiritual path to ultimately discover, is they're trying to figure out who they are, but they're also trying to figure out what they want to do with this lifetime in a way that is meaningful and fulfilling to their spirit, to their heart. And that comes as a result of knowing yourself. And on this path of self-discovery, you have to learn to trust yourself, because you're always getting information from the universe, from life, all over the place. And what happens when we don't trust ourselves is we outsource our power, we outsource our strength, our intuition, our confirmation, we outsource our decision-making process to authorities or people that we believe or deem have the authority or the knowledge or the awareness to make the best decisions for us. And that's how we get ourselves into trouble. This is ultimately a part of what makes people-pleasing such a dangerous habit and karma to continually bring about and invoke in your life, is because you're constantly outsourcing your own intuition, your own self-trust to something that is outside of you. And I think every single person can remember a key moment where they knew the right thing to do and they received advice or knowledge from somebody that they trusted or somebody that they thought knew better, and they acted on that and they got themselves into trouble. I can remember that first moment it was for me. It was when I was about, I want to say 6 or 7 years old, and I was on the way it was me and my dad. We were in the car and we were practicing these Bible trivia, and I was on the way to this like Awana's, anyone who remembers Awana's, shout out to you. But it was on the way to this like Bible trivia match. And it was this like all day thing. There's all these different events. And I was really good at like obscure Bible trivia. And I remember we were practicing. He asked me a question in the car and I knew it. I got it right. Boom. And he goes, "No, that's actually not it." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's this." And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, "No, it's not." And he was like, "Yeah, it is." So then I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll remember that." And I trusted him because he was driving. He had the piece of paper with all the answers on it, yada, yada. So then in the match, They asked the question, and this is Jeopardy style, right? So you got to hit the buzzer. They asked that question, the exact same question, and I hit it, and I said the answer with such confidence that my dad said. And they looked at me and they go, "Oh no, that's incorrect." And I look at my dad, and this was the first feeling I can remember of like shame and self betrayal and anger. I felt so much emotion, such an emotional scale in that moment because I looked at my dad and I was like, I trusted you. And I knew the answer. I knew better than you, and I still trusted you. I doubted myself in that moment. And I remember so much anger because not just at him for telling me the wrong thing, because I don't really like, I think he in the moment thought he was giving me the right answer for whatever reason. But I just remember that feeling of self betrayal in that moment of not trusting myself. And then that kind of cascaded on to all these other things where I knew intuitively the right decisions, the right movements to make, the right choices in my life. And I abandoned myself in those moments. I outsourced my power to other people because I thought that that was going to be what was the best option in that moment. So that's just one example of how something when we don't trust ourselves can compound into this much larger dissonance of a relationship between us and ourselves. Now, the second part, accepting yourself. Now, to accept yourself means uh, to fully recognize without any sort of shame or animosity or judgment the things that you've done, who you are, and the things that you want and how you act moving forward. And I think this is a big thing that a lot of people struggle with is this self-acceptance element. Because when we're children, we act naturally, intuitively. We're in this like state of just wonder and awe and spontaneity because it's the natural part of who we are. It's our essence that is flowing. And as a result of growing up in our environments and our social circles, religions, whatever it may be, we are unconsciously being programmed and trained to see the world in a certain way for the sole factor of fitting in with that social group. So, as a part of that, we unconsciously begin to reject ourselves for the pure sake of fitting in. Now, I can remember doing this to myself as a younger child because I was homeschooled for many years, and then I went to a private work at your own pace school. I did 4 years of school in 2 years. Very smart kid, very bright. And then when I went to a private school where I was in a classroom with 25, 30 other people, I was half everybody's size. I was a year and a half, 2 years younger than them all. It was like not a good place to be. So I was bullied a lot as a result of it. I was smarter than a lot of the people there, and I didn't understand why everybody was such a dick. And I started to change my behavior in order to just fit in those social circles. And I think a lot of people can resonate with that at some point in their life where they have they have abandoned themselves, they've rejected themselves, they have not accepted a natural part of them because they just wanted to fit in and they wanted things to go smoothly and cleanly in whatever social circles they were in. And that also then compounds as a result, and over time, where we start to make decisions based on what we think we will get out of something or how other people will respond and react. Now, when you couple that with not trusting yourself, well, you can start to see the relationship between if I trust myself, then I accept myself. And if I accept myself as I am, and even though I might not be right 100% of the time, I can trust the areas of myself that I actually am sure of, that I trust myself enough to figure it out as we go forward. So we can already start to see the relationship between those two elements. So we have trusting ourselves, accepting ourselves, and loving ourselves. Now, this, I think, is the simplest one out of all of them, but I think it's the hardest for a lot of people because I would say that most people don't actually know what it means to receive love. I think most of the purest type of love that a lot of people receive in their life is actually from the natural world. I think if you can remember the first time that you were hugging a puppy or an animal or a kitten and it was just giving you all of its love and energy and excitement, whether you were cuddling or playing, like that is a pure direct transmission of love. And some people receive that type of deep, intimate love, which inherently contains acceptance from their parents. But then there's a lot of people who don't receive that. I know what it's like to not feel loved by parents. I know what it's like to not feel love of myself. I know also what it's like to love myself so much and not understand why people around me growing up did not see the same things that I did in myself or see the same things in the world that I did. And so, as a result of us betraying ourselves, aka not accepting ourselves and not trusting ourselves, we learn unconsciously to actually act with this from this skewed, fractured psyche to where we actually don't make the choices or go after the things that we really want because we either don't think we're deserving of love, we don't think we're deserving of that outcome, or whatever it may be. I think if people really loved, accepted, and trusted themselves, the world would be a very different place. Even if they did it half the time, a quarter of the time, we'd be living in such a different world. A lot of the problems we see in the world is because people are acting from this state of self hatred, of self lack, of thinking that everything's a competition, that if they don't do something, somebody else is going to do something to them. You know, this competition behavior, and it really just you can see that you can see the state of the world, all the wars, children being killed because of men thousands or hundreds of miles away making decisions because if we don't do it, they're going to do it to us later. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all that is evil in my worldview. That is evil at play. The deception that these intelligences feed you so that you cause harm in the world rather than trying to do good or make good in the world. And I'm not going to go any further into that because I know there's a lot of complicated issues out there. So, bringing this back to embodying your Dharma, living your purpose in the world, embodying what you are meant to be, and just the fullness of your expression, the fullness of your beauty, the fullness of your purity, of your genius, all of the things that make you you. Those gifts, those qualities, those traits, they amplify. The more you love yourself, the more you make decisions that are going to make you feel better about yourself, that are going to give you more energy, that are going to honor what you're meant to be doing in this life instead of just following opportunities for the sake of money or fame or success or fitting in. The more love you give to yourself, the more your mind, your heart, and your spirit can flourish and prosper, because that love is a very high frequency. It beautifies anything and everything that it touches, and it continues to do that perpetually. It's not just a one-time thing. This is why you see these realized masters as they become progressively more conscious, or you can even use artists, for example. The more they express who they are, whether it's expressing the divinity and the enlightenment that they've found, or whether it's expressing their artistry and their magic and their beauty and their creativity in the world, all of that compounds. That's what the power of love really starts to open up, is this compound growth of infinite, eternal unity, of infinite, eternal life. Love is life. You have a life because of love. The desire to feel unity, to give unity to the world and the space around you. So the more we love ourselves, the more we are amplifying and compounding that life force within us. The more we trust ourselves, the more stronger our intuition becomes. The more we can learn to read and perceive the signs of the universe, the language of life that is speaking to you, whether it's nature, whether it is your friends, or whether it's, non-physical beings. So the more you learn to trust yourself and discern, the more you are able to receive the communication of that sacred intelligence that is coming from within your heart, within your infinite mind, not your intellectual mind, the infinite mind, the diamond mind. So when you trust ourselves, we can more clearly act on the information that we are receiving. And the more we accept ourselves, the more we can bring that force of life, that force of love to our skills, to our gifts, to our creativity, to the things we want to see in the world. And we start to bring other people into that field, into that experience. Because if we accept ourselves, then we can accept other people. You may not understand them. You don't have to understand them. But you accept them for who they are because you see them as just another reflection of yourself. So your relationship with yourself becomes stronger the more you trust, accept, and love yourself. Your relationship with the world around you becomes stronger the more you trust, love, and accept yourself. Your relationship with life, your relationship with everything that you perceive to be outside of you, it just becomes stronger. It's this self-perpetuating, evolving ball of light, of power, of divinity. And it's all there inside of you. And the greatest trick the world, the influencer, the Maya has ever played on you is to make you believe or perceive that you're not enough, that you are missing something, that you don't have the regulated nervous system, the strategy, the spiritual awareness to see these things within yourself first. And as a result of seeing and recognizing and integrating that inside of you, being able to become a beacon of light. That is what this whole spiritual war, you could say, is all about. Is things outside of you telling you that you are not enough so that you don't turn inward and recognize the sacred love, divinity, power, and connection to God, the connection to life that you hold within yourself. That right there, once you start to tap into that, once you start to be able to see that light in your meditation, because that's you, it's not outside of you, it's your awareness manifesting. Once you begin to recognize that and see that, everything begins to flow. There's this connection between the heart and the mind that becomes established, and as a result, your aura, your energetic field becomes amplified as a result of the life force flowing within you, and then that begins to connect you with the ambient light of awareness that is flowing and creating life between all things, all of nature. You're not separate from any of those things. And so when you apply that into creating your life, you begin to see the things that are right for you, that are right for getting you to the next step and stage in that journey, that getting you to that next process, to being able to share that in a way that feels coherent for you, that actually brings the energy and the invocation and the frequency that you want to carry in the world, regardless of whatever your business or your service looks like. Because that's why people think marketing has this bad rap, is they think they have to change their innate frequency. They have to change the way that they speak and communicate and see things so that it becomes appealing to somebody else. If you're changing the way you're marketing, you're expressing, and you're sharing what is so meaningful to you for the sake of getting customers and clients, well, right there, you're not trusting yourself, you're not accepting yourself, and you're clearly not loving yourself. So we can begin to see how these three things take have a perpetual relationship with everything that we do in life, with our romantic and social relationships, with our own spiritual practice, with our relationships with our business, and creating our life. Because when people don't have these three things and are focused on cultivating and making those things stronger within themselves, they begin to build a life that is inherently out of alignment with their heart. People say their soul's calling, their soul's purpose. I think it's much easier to tap into the heart space and to know if it's in alignment with your heart or not. Because when you say soul, it's like it instantly becomes this ambiguous, etheric kind of thing. But your heart knows. Once you connect with the heart, you know. You know if it feels good. You know if it's in alignment. You can see how your body reacts to it. A lot of people, they build lives and businesses chasing some desire of an outcome. And while that outcome may be inherently something that they want, or there's nothing inherently harmful or wrong or bad about that outcome, the way they're approaching it is out of alignment with their heart, and it's out of alignment of their natural essence, their natural frequency. So then all of the experiences that they do or that they have in order to create this outcome inherently become dissonant from their actual heart's natural vibration and frequency. So if you, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as a creative, as a healer, as a coach, whatever it may be, your number one job is to cultivate that connection to your heart space, to trust yourself, to trust the intuition, the messages, the communications from life and the universe, and accept yourself for who you are, at what stage you are, accept where you are in your business, your life, your skills, and just be very honest with yourself so that you continue to trust those intuitive messages and love yourself along the way so that all gets stronger. It all gets stronger. It's a perpetual, self-generating, eternal ball of light inside of you. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to invite you to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And there's also going to be a couple ways to work with me and join our online community of Dharma Club, which is filled with amazing healers, coaches, yogis, practitioners that are all pursuing their Dharma, that are all looking to make the world a better place, and we'd love to have you join us. So you can click all the different links in the description below, and I'll see you very soon, my friends. Broadcasting to you live from Laguna Beach, California, West Beach. We are loving life, and I'll see you later.